making headlines. The president addresses the critical issue of debt sustainability facing small island developing states. The president underscores that a country's independence is not solely defined by internal acceptance, but must also be recognized and respected by the global community. And the Maldives calls for United Nations that is representative, responsive, and focused on delivering results for people worldwide. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News. I'm your host Malak Ahmad Fayaz. Now for the news in detail. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu addresses the critical issue of debt sustainability facing small island developing states (SIDS). Speaking at a side event on building resilient futures, the SIDS Debt Sustainability Support Service, he highlighted the urgent need for comprehensive solutions to ease the growing external debt burden that threatens the financial sustainability of SIDS.
President Muizzu pointed out that over 40% of SIDS are currently in or nearing debt distress, with the Maldives' debt to GDP ratio exceeding 100%. Emphasizing the importance of the SIDS Debt Sustainability Support Service, a strategic initiative aimed at elevating this financial crisis, President Muizzu said that these stark figures demand urgent action. The President noted that the Debt Sustainability Support Services offers a holistic approach to managing debt by creating fiscal space that can be redirected toward critical areas like climate adaptation and sustainable development. He stressed the need for international solidarity, calling on partners to support self-sustained development in SIDS and to explore mechanisms that integrate debt relief with climate finance.
We, the SIDS, must take full ownership of our development journey. We must build robust institutions, enhance our productive capacities, and empower our communities to lead this transformation. Our future depends on our own ability to harness our economic capital, promote entrepreneurship, and implement homegrown solutions that reflect the unique strengths of our island nations.
President Muizzu also called for economic diversification, noting that many SIDS, including the Maldives, are overly dependent on tourism and fisheries, leaving them vulnerable to external shocks like the COVID-19 pandemic. He emphasized that diversification is not merely a goal but a necessity for survival, urging SIDS to strengthen their productive capacities and tap into innovative financing tools such as blue and green bonds, debt for nature swaps, and concessional financing. Calling on governments, the private sector, and the international community to collaborate in ensuring the success of the Debt Sustainability Support Service and the long-term financial sustainability of SIDS economies, President Muizzu concluded by stating that the future of SIDS depends on its ability to harness human capital, promote entrepreneurship, and implement homegrown solutions.
President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu underscores that a country's independence is not solely defined by internal acceptance, but must also be recognized and respected by the global community. Delivering a message on the 59th anniversary of the Maldives' membership in the United Nations UN, President Dr. Muizzu emphasized the nation's successful diplomatic journey and its steadfast commitment to international cooperation.
President Muizzu highlighted the UN plays a vital role in defending and promoting the sovereignty of small nations like the Maldives. As such, the President noted the most important place to defend the independence and sovereignty of a country is the UN, stressing the significance of UN membership in ensuring global recognition and respect for the Maldives' sovereignty. Reflecting on the Maldives' achievements at the UN, President Muizzu noted the nation has made remarkable progress over the years, moving from poverty to prosperity while championing critical issues such as climate change. He pointed out that Maldivian diplomats have worked tirelessly to promote the country's interests on the world stage, including holding the presidency of the UN General Assembly last year and serving a third term on the UN Human Rights Council. The president also revealed the nation's ongoing campaign for a seat on the UN Economic and Social Council, reaffirming that the Maldives' trajectory remains firmly focused on progress and global engagement. President Moise described the UN as the world's primary forum for resolving disputes and addressing global challenges, emphasizing the need for active participation in its debates. Adding that his top priority in foreign policy is to protect the interests of the Maldivian people, President Moise stated that the country must raise its voice in such arenas to ensure that the Maldives is a respected and influential nation globally. In closing, President Moise assured the people of Maldives that his foreign policy would continue to prioritize the nation's security, freedom, and prosperity. The president pledged to protecting the interests of the people of Maldives in shaping and conducting the foreign policy.
The Maldives calls for United Nations UN that is representative, responsive, and focused on delivering results for people worldwide. This statement was made by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Musa Zamir, emphasizing the need for reform in the global organization on the occasion of the 59th anniversary of its membership in the United Nations.
In his address, Minister Zamir highlighted the challenges that continue to affect nations, such as outdated global systems, financing gaps, economic inequality, and the digital divide. He pointed out that the impacts of climate change disproportionately threaten vulnerable countries, while ongoing and protracted conflicts strain the multilateral system. Underlining the urgency for a more effective international body, Minister Zamir stated that a United Nations that can confront the surging seas head-on is of importance to address these challenges. Celebrating its long-standing UN membership, Minister Zamir reflected on the Maldives' role as a steadfast and trusted partner, particularly in assisting newly independent states seeking recognition. He described the Maldives' journey as a success story, overcoming skepticism about the capabilities of micro-states to fulfill UN Charter obligations and making significant contributions to the UN system while serving on its most prestigious platforms. The minister reiterated that the values enshrined in the UN Charter, peace and security, human rights, rule of law and development are integral to the Maldives' foreign policy. He emphasized the country's commitment as a champion of multilateralism, a leading advocate for climate action and a promoter of human rights and sustainable development. Minister Zamir concluded his statement by reaffirming the Maldives' dedication to collaborative global efforts. As such, he stated that the country stands ready to deliver on the promise of a more peaceful, inclusive, and sustainable future for the Maldivian people, small island developing states, and the world. The Maldives became a member of the United Nations, joining a global community that questioned the value of including smaller nations on September 21, 1965.
The Ministry of Islamic Affairs announces the commencement of a conference focused on identifying and addressing the challenges faced by imams.
Speaking at the opening of the Imams Conference 2024 held at the Islamic Center, Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Said emphasized that the primary goal of the conference is to train imams and nurture a new generation of young imams. He also noted that the conference is intended to strengthen the relationship between imams and the ministry while also expanding the role imams play in society. Additionally, Minister Shahim expressed particular pride in the participation of young imams and khatibs at the conference, describing it as a promising sign for the future of the Maldives and a reflection of the growing prominence of Islamic leadership. He also encouraged the continued organization of such conferences to foster further development in the area. The seminar, which was organized by the Islamic Ministry, brings together over 500 imams with 208 attending in person and 300 participating online. The ministry is also pursuing other initiatives aimed at developing young imams and khatibs across the Maldives.
Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Saeed announces plans to send 500 imams abroad for training over the next 5 years. He made the remarks during the opening ceremony of the Imams' Conference 2024.
Speaking at the first ever conference for imams in the Maldives, Minister Shahim emphasized the critical role of imams and the benefits of fulfilling their duties. He highlighted his ongoing efforts to improve the training of imams, noting that 400 have already been trained under a new curriculum this year. He also said that 60 imams have been sent abroad, with plans to send 100 more by the end of the year. Additionally, Minister Shahim said that 100 imams would be sent abroad annually with the goal of training 500 overseas within the next 5 years. He pledged to train 1,000 young khatibs during this period. He also assured attendees that the Ministry of Islamic Affairs is committed to addressing the challenges faced by imams and elevating the position of imam, which he described as a highly esteemed role. Furthermore, Mr. Shahim affirmed his intent to implement the decisions made during the seminar. He also said that the decisions will be incorporated into a new structure for the ministry. The ministry said that the primary goal of the conference was to foster cooperation and friendship among the Maldivian imams, addressing their challenges and provide guidance on resolving such issues.
Special Envoy for Climate Change Ali Sharif highlights the importance of energy audits of companies aiming to reduce emissions. He made the remarks during the launch ceremony of the Maldivian Green Horizon Initiative by Island Aviation Services Limited, IASL.
Speaking at the ceremony, Special Envoy Ali Sharif noted a 2022 study revealing that the Maldives emits 2,030 kilotons of harmful gases annually, with 30% stemming from transportation and civil aviation. As such, he urged companies to assess their emissions when implementing environmentally friendly programs and conduct energy audits to identify and reduce consumption in high energy use areas. Meanwhile, Deputy Managing Director of IASL, Ali Salim, said that the new initiative aims to align all aspects of the company's operations with environmental sustainability. He also expressed the goal of transforming IASL into a model of eco-friendliness, encouraging employees to adopt environmentally responsible practices. IASL has signed an agreement with Pale Maldives, an environmental non-governmental organization, to support the Green Horizon Initiative. The agreement was signed between Managing Director of IASL Ibrahim Iyas and President of Pale Maldives Hamdoun Hamid. Following the launch, a cleaning event took place at the IASL seaplane dock.
The Maldives secures 30 awards at this year's South Asian Travel Awards SATA, marking the 8th edition of the event. Launched in 2016, the SATA Awards celebrate excellence in hospitality across South Asia. The annual ceremony attracts numerous institutions and associations within the South Asian travel sector. This year's ceremony took place in Kathmandu, Nepal on Friday, where the Maldives was honored with 30 awards, notably the Visitors' Choice Awards for Leading Beach Destination. In total, the Maldives received 15 gold awards and 14 silver awards, recognizing its resorts, hotels and tourism services. The SATA Awards featured 144 categories with 51 gold and 93 silver awards. Over 400 nominations were submitted for consideration. Alongside the Maldives, competitors included Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan and India. The Maldives Inland Revenue Authority, MIRA, reveals that government revenue from quota fees has doubled this year, attributed to enhanced enforcement measures for collecting fees from foreign laborers.
The latest revenue report released by MIRA shows that the government collected $15 million in quota fees by August this year, which is a 123% increase compared to $7 million during the same period last year. Notably, quota fees increased by 33.7% in August alone, reaching $2.3 million, up from $1.8 million in August of the previous year. The fees are processed through the expatriate management system, Expat system. The government mandates that individuals and companies with outstanding fees and penalties exceeding $6,500 must settle their debts. Currently, there are over 50,000 individuals and companies employing foreign workers in the Maldives. The Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology has stated that over 90%, which is more than 45,000 individuals, fail to pay their fees regularly.
Chief Executive Kelly Ortberg said in a message to staff that ending a strike involving more than 30,000 of Boeing's Seattle area workers is a top priority for the aviation giant. Kelly Ortberg's note comes as the strike, which has shuttered assembly plants for the 737 MAX and 777, enters its second week. Ortberg said that ending the strike is a top priority. He added that during mediation with the union this week, they continued their good faith efforts to engage the union's bargaining committee in meaningful negotiations. He also said that they remain very committed to reaching an agreement as soon as possible that recognizes the hard work of the employees and ends the work stoppage in the Pacific Northwest. But he noted the company was disappointed the discussions did not lead to more progress. Members of the International Association of Mechanists and Aerospace Workers, IM District 751, had overwhelmingly voted on September 12 to reject a new contract, walking out hours later. Their key demands include a wage hike of 40%. This is significantly higher than the 25% increase touted by Boeing, but workers see the figure as misleading because the deal would also eliminate an annual bonus. Union members complain of near-stagnant pay for more than a decade, a problem worsened by consumer inflation in recent years and by higher costs of living in the Seattle area, which is a growing tech hub. On Wednesday, Boeing said it would start furloughs of professional and white-collar staff as it seeks to conserve cash amid the labor strike. While both sides resumed talks on Tuesday with the help of mediators, the IAM said late Wednesday that discussions ended without result. In a separate message to employees, Ortberg announced the departure of the head of Boeing's Defense, Space and Security Subdivision, Ted Colbert. Hezbollah says that a second senior commander was among 16 fighters killed in an Israeli strike on its Beirut stronghold the previous day, highlighting the scale of the blow to its military leadership. Israel said Friday's strike on the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital killed the head of Hezbollah's elite Radwan force, Ibrahim Akil, and several other commanders. Coming hot on the heels of sabotage attacks on communications devices this week that killed 37 people in Hezbollah strongholds, the strike raised new questions about the Iran-backed group's security arrangements and dealt a heavy blow to its fighters' morale. Hezbollah named the second commander as Ahmad Mahmoud Wahbi, saying he had headed the group's operations against Israel from the onset of the Gaza war in October until the start of this year. Confirming the death of Akil, who was wanted by the United States for involvement in the 1983 bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Hezbollah hailed him as one of its great leaders. AFP journalists said Friday's strike left a massive crater and gutted the lower floors of a high-rise building. It was the second Israeli strike on the Hezbollah military leadership since the start of the Gaza war. An Israeli strike on Beirut in July killed Fuad Shukr, a top operations chief for the movement. It also followed sabotage attacks on pagers and two-way radios used by Hezbollah on Tuesday and Wednesday, which killed 37 people and raised fears of a wider war. Stephanie Dujarric, spokesperson for UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, said the world body was very concerned about the heightened escalation and called for maximum restraint from all sides. The Israeli military said it conducted a targeted strike against Akil, which a source close to Hezbollah said killed a total of 16 Radwan force members. The source said Akil was at a meeting with commanders when he was killed. Ironheads GC stunned Crushers GC in the semi-finals of the LIV Golf Team Championship on Saturday, recording a 3-0 victory over the event's defending champion in Carrollton, Texas. Despite being the lowest seed in the tournament, Ironheads GC had little trouble ousting the #1 seed at Meridor Golf Club. New Zealand's Danny Lee earned a 2-up win against Crushers captain Bryson DeChambeau, and Scott Vincent of Zimbabwe posted a 1-up victory versus England's Paul Casey before captain Kevin Na teamed with Japan's Jinichiro Kozuma to beat Anirban Lahiri of India and Charles Howell III 3-1. In other action Saturday, Legion bounced back from an early deficit to edge High Flyers GC 2-1. Legion responded, though getting a 5-4 victory from Englishman Tyrell Hatton and a 4-3 win from the pairing of Caleb Surratt and Zimbabwe's Kieran Vincent. Spain's John Ram, captain of Legion, had to withdraw Saturday due to an illness. Mark Leishman outlasted Eugenio Chacarra of Spain in 19 holes, and fellow Australian Lucas Herbert came away with a 1-up win against another Spaniard, David Puig, to power Ripper GC past Fireballs GC 2-1. Fireballs GC captain Sergio Garcia of Spain and Mexico's Abraham Anser defeated Australians Cameron Smith and Matt Jones 3-1 in the foursomes match. Captain Dustin Johnson and Patrick Reed both prevailed 1-up in their respective matches for Four Aces GC, who beat Stinger GC 2-1. The South African duo of Captain Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel won 3-2 for Stinger. Each head-to-head matchup on Friday and Saturday consisted of 2 singles matches and 1 foursomes alternate shot match. Friday's 5 winners joined the top 3 seeds Crushers GC, Legion and Ripper GC in the semi-finals. The 4 teams that reached Sunday's finals will play 18 holes of stroke play, with the lowest combined team score determining the champion. U.S. electricity company Constellation Energy announces that 3 Mile Island, the site of America's worst nuclear accident, will restart operations to provide power to Microsoft. Microsoft will use the capability to deliver its expanding AI and cloud services, which are putting pressure on local electricity providers as tech giants build more power-hungry data centers. Constellation said in a statement that the 20-year agreement involves restarting Unit 1, which operated at industry-leading levels of safety and reliability for decades before being shut down for economic reasons exactly 5 years ago. Unit 1 was not involved in the 1979 partial nuclear meltdown at the Pennsylvania site. Before its premature retirement in 2019, the plant could power over 800,000 average homes. Microsoft will use the energy to support power grids in the mid-Atlantic states around Washington, D.C., a region considered an internet crossroads. Bobby Hollis, Microsoft Vice President of Energy, said that 3 Mile Island's nuclear energy will bolster a power grid covering 13 states. This area faces severe strain from data centers' massive energy consumption, raising concerns about grid stability as AI demands increase. Tech giants like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are rapidly expanding their data center capabilities to meet the AI revolution's computing needs, while also scouring the globe for sources of electricity. Hollis said the project was part of a multi-technology approach to sourcing power, which also includes wind and solar energy, and an essential pathway to achieving the goal of becoming carbon negative by 2030. Microsoft earlier this year signed a deal with Canada's Brookfield Asset Management to develop over 10.5 gigawatts of new wind and solar farms, marking one of the largest corporate purchases of renewable energy to date. That's all the news we have for today. Thank you all for watching.
hukuruduge khutubain takurarokon awurmen